just going to start off by saying hello and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited about our conversation and getting to know you as well, and anything that you want to share with us, any wisdom that you've acquired through all of your many gifts and talents. So I'm very, very excited to highlight you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited to meet you and to come and do a podcast with you.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we were able to make it.
Me too. Me too. So we're just going to start off with something simple. Where were you born, or where did you grow up?
I was born in the Bay Area, and my early years were in the Bay Area. And then my parents, one person, my father loved the Bay Area. My mother loved Oregon. And so we ended up living in Oregon.
She won.
She won. Did most of my growing up here. I have been living in Oregon well over 60 years. So I should say Oregon is my home.
Yeah. Have you always lived in Portland, or have you lived all over Oregon?
No, Portland. Primarily Portland metropolitan area.
It has changed a lot.
It has. It really has. We're the oldest family on our block in my mother's neighborhood. My mom's 99, still living at home. We still have the same house, second owners of a house in Irvington. And we're the oldest family on the block, and I love that.
I love that too. What was it like growing up in Portland when you were young?
It was very different from now. I remember hearing the grown-ups say, you don't have to lock the front door. It's okay. It's all right. Don't bother with it. So it was safe. All the neighbors were family, whether they were DNA family or just neighborhood family. All the neighbors were family. Everybody looked out for everyone's children. You always felt safe. You know, if you fell down in the middle of the street, somebody's mother
was going to come
rushing out and give you a Band-Aid or get you up out this. Someone was going to take good care of you. It was always a beautiful thing, actually. Mm-hmm. And on the other side of that coin, if you were misbehaving, someone's mom was going to come out and make sure they took care of the situation.
Right?
And then later that evening, when your parents got home, they were going to make sure your parents knew what you were up to that day. It was a good thing. It was a good thing.
It was. And Portland, was probably less developed, and certainly it's still a beautiful place.
Still a beautiful place. I always say, goodness gracious, we live in paradise. And there's crazy things happening. Yeah. But as a young person here in Portland, I didn't realize how good we had it. I was always complaining, having to compare Portland to San Francisco. It just felt like we had moved to the country.
You did in comparison.
We did. And we didn't have really high, tall buildings there. I don't think we have the LP building downtown. That pink, pink building.
Pink building.
That wasn't here. So the skyline was very different.
Yeah.
A lot of the tall buildings that are there now were not there earlier. It was just a little town called a city.
Mm-hmm. So when did you move from San Francisco to Portland? How old were you?
The last time we moved and stayed, I was in 6th grade, elementary school.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you were old enough in San Francisco to really remember it and appreciate it. And did you like San Francisco more?
I loved it.
You did?
I loved it. My father drove for municipal transit, and those are the guys at Muni. They did the trolley cars, they did the cable cars. So my dad was part of that family or tribe, and all of the drivers knew all of the drivers' kids and families. So especially if you lived in a particular area, all those drivers knew the kids. So I could go all over San Francisco as a child alone using the transit system. I never was by myself. So I would stand on the corner. Here comes, and they're, you know how quickly they come, every 5 minutes, every 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So you get on, looked at me. My father's last name was Johnson. He says, "You're Johnson's kid, aren't you?" I said, "Yeah." Tell the person in the front seat right by the door, "Excuse me, you'll need to get up and go find another seat. Sit." "Where are you going?" "I'm going to such and such. Who's meeting you there?" "Well, I got to go catch that one to get over there. And so when you got to your place where you're going to get off, they hit the button to tell the other driver that's picking you up, "Hold on, we got a kid." So you go from a dad to a dad to a dad to a dad.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, you can watch out for all the children.
That did not exist when I lived.
I tell you, I got around that town.
In the 90s, and then I was in the early 90s, and then I was there again from 2009 to 2014.
This was back in the 50s.
Yeah.
This was back in the 50s, a very different environment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Community for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everywhere.
Yeah.
Something that we are very, very much lacking and longing for.
Yeah. Longing for. Indeed.
Name something you cannot live without.
Oh, goodness. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Okay.
Quiet time. I'm not a good person without it. I know me. I need quiet. Fresh air. Coffee. Nature.
Yeah.
Family. Friends. It could go on and on.
I know.
It could just, I'm thinking.
You're very appreciative.
I need this and I need that. I do.
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative, and I try to make it a point to always be grateful. For example, my mother is from Nicaragua, Atlantic coast, and I have traveled quite a bit and been in what people call third world or developing countries. And just to take a wash in the morning, you have to have someone go to the well, get the water, bring the water back. If you want it warm, you're going to have to cook it.
Right.
Okay, you're going to have to boil it. Then you add it, go to the... It's
a process.
It's a process.
Yeah.
When I go to my bathroom in my home now, I am so grateful. I turn a knob, water comes out. It's either cold or I have the option to warm it up with hot. I get in there and there's like no spiders, no snakes, it's indoor. And I'm like, thank you. Just a shower. Thank you for clean water. Thank you for indoor plumbing. Thank you that I have temperature. I don't have to take a cold shower. Just the simple things. I just really am grateful for the simple things. But had I not known how difficult the simple things could be, I might not
appreciate them.
Appreciate it. So all of that I'm grateful for.
I'm with you. I'm very grateful for water.
Indeed.
Because I know other people don't have it.
Yes. I've become more appreciative of clean water as I mature.
Me too.
Early on in life, I saw a quote that says, the one who carries, something to the effect that the one who carries their own water appreciates it more. So I'm like, okay. I didn't have to pick this up, put it on my head, and walk. And so now when I'm running my water, I make sure I'm running it because I need it.
Right.
Not because I forgot to turn it off.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So definitely.
I carry in my water.
Do you?
Yeah. because at home I have reverse osmosis, so I
See?
bring in all my water for people. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Are you in the city?
I'm in the city. Yeah, I'm in Southwest Portland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I'm on the other side of the river, so my water's from Bull Run.
Okay.
So it's not from Hood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a totally different water supply.
Totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different.
Yeah.
I used to work for the Water Bureau.
Back
in the
old,
I did. In one of my city employments. Mm-hmm.
What was that like?
Busy.
Yeah.
Busy. It was a customer service portion of working for the Water Bureau.
So like this was a younger
yes.
Graciela.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Graciela.
Graciela.
Mm-hmm.
It's so pretty.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we could talk forever about water. What are you watching or reading or listening to these days?
I do a lot of watching about the seasons that we're in and how energy is being affected by the seasons that we're in, and where have we been and where are we now and where are we moving to. And that, I like other people's opinions and I like to know what other people are thinking, but then I have to set that over to the side and go sit down and have quiet time to align to source. Okay, where am I in all of this? And so that is really pretty much what I've been listening to. Listening to the difference of people speaking about third dimension and the energy that's necessary for us to move to fifth dimension. And the first time I ever heard that, I'm like, well, what happened to fourth? What's happening?
We just skip right through
that. Right through that. I'm like,
we just
who's in charge here?
Only the ghosts live there. Only the ghosts.
And so, it's just putting my mind and having opportunity to look and listen and to read about things that will help me think outside of my own historical box.
Yes.
And moving forward with that. Looking at things that now might be considered shamanic or mystic or working with the unseen without getting too woo-woo. Because as I'm working, doing the work that I do, I work a lot with energy.
Yes.
The teachings of the energy is that it's not woo-woo. A lot of it's science.
Yeah.
And coming to the understanding that what we didn't know before about science is now mainstream. And so a lot of the things that we consider things that would have got us in trouble a long time ago, like in Salem, those things are just science. How to use the herbs for wellness, how to use energy to quiet a nervous system.
Right.
Those type of things were really looked upon as being, whereas honestly, it's just knowing how the body works and how we were created to work. And as we learn more, we do more. And as we know better, we do better. Mm-hmm. And so those are the type of things that I kind of focus in on and sit with.
Mm-hmm. What is something you're really obsessed with recently?
I think I'm really, I'll call it obsessed, because it is my main idea is that we're here for a reason. What's the reason? And as I began to understand what my reason was, then it became a focus. It became an obsession. As I move through my day, am I on target? So my focus or my obsession is what I consider the highest medicine available. The highest. And that's divine love. Not the romantic stuff, not the stuff movies are made out of. That has its place. You know, I'm not going to say that doesn't have its place, but divine love, moving and interacting with everything from that place. So my mantra for me personally is to love and do no harm. Can I do that 1,000%? No.
No.
But I can love you. I might not like you, but and I can love you from you be over there. Access denied.
Yeah.
But I can still love you, and I can still think good thoughts for you, for both of our healings, you know, when things come up that are not looking so pretty. You know, love still is the greatest medicine. It still vibrates the highest. As you were saying, some of the things that I read and I study, looking at a chart, I've seen several charts, most of them with people that work with energy, and where we are and where we want to be, love is at the top. Brings that high vibration. It just keeps bringing it up and bringing it up until there's just bliss. And so that's an obsession. That's one of the reasons why I do what I do. You know, when I interact with my guests or my clients, it's from a loving perspective. It's let me share this with you. How does this feel? Because I really feel that that's my alarm to drink water.
That's an amazing alarm.
I thought I turned it off. Sorry.
You're fine. I was like, how am I hearing water?
Water running. On that note.
Yeah. We'll switch out.
Forgot where I was.
Oh, you were talking about divine love.
Yes.
And you were talking about bringing more of that in, and that is your gift and your purpose and how you hold people.
Yes, and that's what I bring. It's like, come in. We're moving from a place, in my thinking, in my experience, we're moving from a place or a season of intellect. We were just so driven. Get the education, you know, get the knowledge, get this thing, you know, once you get this, you're there. Well, we got it and we're not there. So now what? Now we're moving into the feeling realm.
The intuitive.
How do you feel? So it's not that we don't need the knowledge. We still need the knowledge.
Well, yeah, it helps us navigate.
Exactly. But now we have this additional focus of feeling the intuitive, the guidance of that. And it's, you know, you hear people say, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Well, we've got the knowledge. And now we're starting to have an understanding of how we feel. But for me, it's the combination of the two, the knowledge and the feeling or understanding that brings the wisdom. Now we can begin to move in wisdom. And it's in wisdom that we can go to that, skip the fourth, I guess, and go to the fifth, which is that higher vibrational state of love and wisdom. We can move and function in that better because now we've been able to combine the two. We're not stuck.
More informed.
More informed.
We're definitely more informed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. Tell me something unique or interesting about you that only those close to you would know.
Well, I guess from yesterday, I'm like, a friend of mine and I were out. And a lot of people are used to me being soft-spoken and whatnot, but I was a tomboy growing up. My dad was a sailor. My mom was a soft-spoken seamstress. And in my house, we had two cultures in one household, which ended up being one culture. But in my house was Central America. Outside my house, I had to learn how to deal with the U.S.
Yeah.
Inside my house, I was heavily accented. I had to learn an American accent outside the house. Born here in this country, but I had to learn an American accent outside the house so as not to be, back in the 50s. Yeah. Everything was so political and so
conservative.
Conservative. That's a good word. I like that word, conservative.
It's very conservative.
And so there's a lot of spiciness that happened around. And as I got older, I learned how to temper it and just kind of be okay with it. But every now and then something will show up and it'll catch me off guard. And I'm like, ah! And so I had a friend in the car yesterday and someone did a bad driving move behind me. And my came out, and they're like, I didn't know.
That existed in you.
They didn't know. So I would say there's some spiciness in me.
Oh, I see it. I see the twinkle in your eye.
That's still available, and it shows up every now and then, especially when I'm surprised with someone being careless or dangerous to people I love. I'm like, So...
Yeah, it's protective.
Very protective. Very protective.
You're a lioness.
That's one of my animals. It's one of my,
Yeah, you absolutely are. I see that in you.
Oh, good. Good.
What are you naturally gifted in?
It's interesting. That's an interesting question.
Thank you.
Couple things. I started dancing in my mother's womb. And as soon as I was strong enough for my feet to hit the floor, I was a dancer. I started dancing when in San Francisco. First company that I danced with was a Russian children's ballet company. From there, I went to the San Francisco Children's Ballet Company. It was a community dance company. Moved to Oregon, and they really didn't have anything for me.
Like it, right?
But I kept dancing and dancing, and went
all the way.
Only
ballet?
No, all of it.
Okay.
Ballet, tap, jazz. Cultural dancing, liturgical dance, and then dancing came out of Portland State late in life, went back to school late in life, but came out of Portland State University dancing with, having traveled to Jamaica and danced with their national group for a short period of time, 2 weeks. But learning their traditional religious dances as part of my discipline for my diploma. And that was beyond phenomenal.
I was just going to say it's phenomenal. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah. Got to travel up to the Blue Mountains in Accompong, which is a nation within a nation. In order to get into that area, you must have permission from their governing body and a visa. So in my passport, I have a visa stamp from Accompong, which is within Jamaica, their own nation within a nation. And they have a very rich history of the Maroons, which were the fighting slaves that decided that they were not going to be enslaved. And so they have maintained their own boundaries and borders and whatnot. And they could not be overtaken. So they are a nation within a nation to this day.
That's unbelievable.
So danced with them and just have been dancing all along. The other thing is that I came very intuitive, which was a shock to me because I thought as a child, everybody saw that. Everybody knew that.
Me too.
See? You didn't see that? Of course you did. And the deja vus as a child were so strong. I could say, watch. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. And then watch what that happens. And I wonder what's going to happen after that. And it would just, and people started getting kind of weird about me.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of learn how to back off of sharing so much. But, and then you don't allow it, and then it kind of gets dormant.
Yep.
Until you give it permission.
Yep.
And once you give it permission, now you got to go dig it up and like, how does this?
Dust it off a little bit.
Yeah,
Shine it up.
I know. Come on. I need you now. I have a better understanding. Let's work together. And so I would say that is a gift. And I have received it back. And I'm still learning how to work. I don't just say work it, because it works all by itself. I can't say, I want to know how this is going to turn out. And it's like, so what? So you want to know? Sit, be quiet. I'm like, but tell me, give me some insight. But it is what it is. It shows up when it shows up, and it's always amazing. And you know things that no one told you, and then you watch it unfold, and you go, oh yeah, I knew that. Mm-hmm. I saw that. Mm-hmm. I felt that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, confirmation.
Confirmation that you knew what you knew without anyone telling you.
Just trusting it.
Learning, that's it.
Learning
that's a good
how
word.
to trust.
Learning how to trust it again now that you dug it back up.
Yeah, learning how to trust it. I feel like when we're children, it's so much easier to trust because there is no barrier yet until people keep telling us, like, no, that's not real. Yeah. No, that's not what the color of skin is when you're drawing.
Yeah. Or just, shh. Don't say that out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Mm-hmm. So no one else in your family?
Oh, they all.
They all are.
I'm going to say more than 50% of my family know that they have this gift. And the other 50% have the gift and it's
refuse
still buried.
To talk about it.
Yeah, they won't talk about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was the oddball. I still am the oddball.
I'm the odd one. I'm the odd one.
Yeah.
My grandmother, though, she and I were really kind of odd together. She came to the U.S. when I was in 4th grade. And I thought, this is an old lady. She's not going to be around very long. And she wasn't. I just thought that. My grandmother lived to be 103. Can you imagine what you have seen and experienced with 100?
In 100 years?
Yeah.
No.
And my mother's on her foothills at 99 and in her right mind. Sassy as all get out. It's
I'm
like,
sure.
Oh my gosh. But my grandmother, we called her Tita. She, my mother wouldn't talk about it. This way of knowing or being able to see. But my grandmother says, what you want to know, come, I'll tell you anything you want to know. I'll show you. And I'm like, looking at the two of them, I'm like, I'll be back. Now, how does this work? And she would just sit and share with me. And it was not a woo-woo thing. It's sort of, if you know, you know. Try it and see. Walk it out and see where it goes. That's it. But anything you do, make sure you do it in love. Anything. Doesn't matter if you're happy, sad, angry. It doesn't matter. You must do everything in love. And if you can walk in love and do everything in love, you will be blessed.
You had a wonderful family.
I did. I still do.
Yeah. You had a wonderful upbringing. It sounds lovely.
It was good.
Yeah. I love that you got the guidance from a really early age to do everything in love. I had to find that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have, it's so funny. I have You know that spicy person I was telling you about? I've named her.
Oh, she has a name.
She has a name. And she has a fence. And her name is Broomhilda.
Of course it is.
Her name is Broomhilda, and she lives a far, far, far away from here now. She's so far away.
Yeah.
And her fence makes sure that there's boundaries.
Yeah.
Don't touch the fence.
Yeah.
The fence will bring Broomhilda out of the house and to the fence. And now she'll have to have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
So the driving incident that we spoke about kind of kicked her fence. And she came out. She didn't speak to anyone except for in the car.
Right.
And that's what the surprise was for my friend. It's like, ooh, what? You have that?
Yeah.
I said, no, that wasn't me. That was Broomhilda. And I just sent her back to her in her house. So
she comes to visit once in a
every
while.
now and then.
She probably came and visited a lot more when you were younger.
Yes. That's why I had to learn how to deal with her. Because anytime you began to hurt my family or bring some type of trauma, drama, or misfortune, and it wasn't warranted in my young mind, Broomhilda was right there.
Yes.
And it's like, no, as I got older, no, we're going to do this a little different. Let's try this. You go back to the house. Let me try something else. And that's where the teachings of do it in love. Do it in love. You can have the same energy, but do it in love.
Yeah.
And you'll get more of the result that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Versus what she's got to offer.
Yeah. Well, I think that takes some emotional maturity.
It does. Yeah. And it did.
Yeah.
And it still does. It's
yeah.
It's a lifelong process.
It is.
It's not going to go away.
No,
it's like,
it's not.
Did you learn?
Yeah.
Okay, here comes another test. Did you learn? Okay, well, let's try it again.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you get it this time?
Yeah. It's a lifelong thing.
The universe is so patient.
True. So true. I'm grateful for that.
Me too.
I appreciate the patience and the love.
Yeah. What is your favorite thing to do when you're expressing love?
Eye contact. Eye contact. Speak into the person. Look and listen. See what they have to say, what their heart, not what they have to say, but what their heart is saying. Makes a big difference on the message that I receive. Yeah.
I feel like with this age of AI and technology.
Not my friend.
No. We've gotten so far away from being able to communicate with each other.
So true.
And people's ability to communicate at a level of intensity and honesty is starting to disappear.
It's true. Especially with the children. You know, they can be sitting side by side texting each other.
I know.
I'm like, really? That's what y'all do now? But that, I love being, especially with children, I love being able to get them close enough, so my children, put them in my lap and like eye to eye, cheek to cheek. We're listening to each other. We're talking to each other. And our hearts, I can feel the child's heart. They can feel mine. I love that. I love being able to communicate that way.
Me too. And I think that's what we are here to do, you and I.
I agree. I agree. And I don't think we spoke, but I have 4 children. I have 18 grandchildren.
18!
They're not all DNA, but the ones that aren't DNA are heart-nay. From the heart, they came with a package relationship. And once you're in Granny's bucket, you're just in Granny's bucket.
bucket.
Yeah. And I have 5 great-grandchildren. So
you have an enormous family.
I do. And they're all different and all the same.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit spellbound.
Me too. I'm like, you guys did that. I'm like, how, you guys did this? Thank you.
Well, I mean, the origination is you.
Well, yeah. And then I start looking back behind with my parents and then their parents and
the ancestral lineage.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It's rich. It's very rich.
It's really rich.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
It is. And our lineage on both sides, my mom and my dad, they're very different. And yet they are all about the family. That's something that they truly did share.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Me too. I'm a lucky woman.
You're very held.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was just about to say, what was it like to grow up in your family?
Oh, it was a loving chaos.
How many siblings do you have?
We come in sets.
Okay.
So we come in sets. I'm just going to say, my parents got around. I have a set of siblings. My mother's children, there were my sister and 2 brothers and me. And
so there were 4 of you as well.
4 of us, my mom's children.
Okay.
And then my mom and dad adopted a younger brother for us who is really probably a 5th or 6th cousin. Because in Central America, there's no foster care or anything like that. If a family has a child and they know that they can't take care of the child, they go through the family and they find someone in the family that can you take this one for us?
Are you serious?
So my grandmother brought me my brother, and so my parents adopted him. And so there's 5 of us, but my mother had 4 children. Biologically, she made 4. And so there were 5 of us I was born in the States, but they were born in Nicaragua.
Everyone else was?
That set, with my mom. All those were born in Nicaragua. My father is from the States. So I have another sister prior to me. So there were 2 of us there.
6.
Mm-hmm. And then the set of children that were from Nicaragua, their father, Papa Matt, had 5 children. All these parents had one thing in mind. These are all children. They all belong to each other, and they will love each other as one family. And they did that. So when people ask me, how many brothers and sisters do you have? I'm like, well, we come in sets. So which set are you talking about? But we're all brothers and sisters. And so I was raised with the 4. And then the other sets, the love that we were encouraged to have from our parents for one another just made this really huge, big, beautiful family. And that's it.
Wow.
Yeah. So in our house, when I say loving chaos, loving chaos. You've got U.S. culture. You've got Nicaraguan culture. You've got sets of children from different parents coming in and going out, and everybody is all about the family. It's the love.
Are you all still really close?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Some of us live here. Like I have 2 brothers that are deceased. My sister still lives here. My brother still lives here. I have a sister that is deceased here. And then there are 1, 2, 3 other siblings that live in the U.S., and the rest are still in Nicaragua.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you have an extended family.
A very extended family.
That's so magical.
It can be. It can be. The holidays, picnics, that's fun.
I bet.
Mm-hmm. And then on my father's side, he was one of 11 children. Now that's a fun group too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
11.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. 11. No one has 11 children anymore.
Not on purpose.
No, they can't afford to.
Not on purpose.
Oh my God.
But it was a beautiful thing back then because they were self-sufficient. They had their own land. They grew the majority of their own food. Mm-hmm. If the house, I remember there being 2 houses. One was a little house when they first started. And then as the children became more plentiful, they built a big house. Same land, same property.
Yep.
Right there.
Huh.
Yeah. And all those children, all of my father and all of his siblings were all professional people. A lot of military expertise, professors, college professors, nurses. They were all really exquisite human beings. And they started their education in a one-room schoolhouse. So your kindergartners and your junior and high schools were always in the same room. So the younger ones came out pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Because they're getting all that higher education even before they were ready.
Yeah.
And what they could gather, they gathered and built upon that.
Teachers back then, man.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, I'm not saying they aren't doing the work now. It's totally different. Though. It's very different.
The young people are different too.
Yes.
Yeah. Before it was a well-disciplined, oiled, follow the machine.
Yes.
And now it's more creative, and you've got young people that have different ways of looking at things. It's not the same.
Mm-hmm. That's right, because you have an MA in education. So
an MS, yeah.
MS, excuse me. So you know a lot about that.
Ooh, yeah. I double certified in general ed and special ed. And
did you work in the public school district?
I did. I didn't get to work a long time, but yeah, I was in the classroom, special ed, and I pushed in, I went into general ed classrooms as well to do the special ed outreach for some of the students. So I was in a progressive kind of school. They did a little bit of both, where the students would come to you. And then for the morning half of the day in the afternoon, I would push into the classroom so the student didn't have to come out of the classroom. Mm-hmm. And you end up co-teaching with the lead teacher, which was fun. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm. I used to teach as well.
Did you? Mm-hmm. General ed?
Yes. Well, elementary.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to go into high school, but my daughter was 2 at the time. And when I was substitute teacher, all the high school teachers kept saying, no, don't do it. You'll be buried in work and it will, take a lot away from you enjoying and raising her. So I went into elementary and I taught 3rd grade. Yeah.
Did you?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I did, like I said, I did special ed. They specialized in a reading system where they taught reading across the entire school all at the same time. And so they taught according to your capacity to read, grade level. So in my reading groups, I had students that were in 2nd grade. I had students that were in 6th grade.
Right.
And so because that's where they were reading.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting, except for some of the older children were starting to get a little bit annoyed because, second and third graders are starting to surpass what they were capable of doing.
Yeah.
But that's just holes in education. That's not necessarily skill level.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it depends on the teacher and what the teacher is able to bring and balance in each student throughout the year. Right?
That's true.
Yeah. And for instance, science was not necessarily my strength. It's not like I didn't teach it, but I kept thinking I hope they get this next year, Yeah. So,
exactly.
Yeah. Everything balances out. You hope.
You hope.
You do the best you can with what you know.
Exactly.
Okay. What is one of your earliest memories of feeling love?
How far back can I go? Well, I just went down memory lane.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Sitting in my uncle's arms. In the Bay Area, probably about 3, where I could really kind of say, oh, that was really loving. When you did your laundry in the we all lived in apartment buildings in San Francisco,
Yeah.
You would hang your laundry out to dry on the roof.
Yeah.
On the roof. And I remember being up on the roof, running around. And of course, the roof is kind of gravelly.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of gravelly. And my mom and my sister are hanging the laundry. And I'm just being a wild child, not realizing that I'm 4 stories up.
And on a roof.
Wild child, running, having so much fun. And I remember the breeze blowing and watching the clothes blow, and they really working hard to make sure they got them pinned on rather than them blowing away.
Right.
And I fell. And I scratched the top of my knee. And I remember looking down and screaming, as my mother reminded me that I was screaming, the juice is coming out, the juice is coming out. And I remember my uncle picking me up and just telling me, it's okay. I'm going to wash it off. It's okay. And my sister coming over with some water and just kind of running it over. And I'm thinking, that must be acid in that cup because that hurt so bad. And he not letting me go. And I was just cutting up. And him just telling me, it's going to be okay. It's okay. That was early on. Sitting, the same thing that I like to do with my children is what I remember them doing to me. Sitting on laps, having conversations, looking at them looking at me. Early on, I remember, this is really weird, I always thought my mother had the most exquisite lips, just beautifully well-formed, like somebody drew them on her face. And I remember sitting with her, and she's trying to do something and just not paying much attention to me, and me putting my finger on the very edge of her lips and outlining her mouth. And she, stop that, it tickles. And I'm like, okay. But then I'd get enthralled in just looking at her. Just put my finger, stop, honey, stop. And just those type of moments, there's nothing going on in particular. Just the connection, just feeling the connection, feeling the belonging. Yeah, stuff like that.
I feel like that's probably what you bring with all of the work that you do now with people.
I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
I hope so. I hope that when people come to me, as they get close, that they start dropping some of their stress, the things that are just got them so tight. As you get closer, I just drop. You can pick that up on the way out, but you don't need that coming here. Drop that too. Drop that. And just come on in. And as you walk through the door, if you can handle it, I've got a hug for you. Come on in. Come on in. Let's sit down and let's chat. What's going on? Just that connection, that eye to eye. How long has it been since you've actually been able to say what you want to say and it's okay? Just peaceful, quiet. Someone's listening and hearing what you have to say. And then the universal energy gets shared. And then the sound medicine gets shared. Then you get to breathe in a particular way that just brings you into your authentic self. Then you're in a safe environment. You have time to sit with you. Everything else has opportunity to fall away. And it's just you with you and you. How do you like you?
That's where the healing is.
That's where the healing takes place. And if you want to get geeky and sciencey with it, it's dropping into the subconscious.
Yeah.
It's moving the prefrontal cortex over here. Be quiet for a minute. We're not talking to you because you talk back too much. We want to come into the subconscious and drop down into that soup and find what needs to bubble up first. Okay, who's first? Let's talk about it. Do we need you anymore? I see the lesson that was here with you.
Right.
Are we done? Did we get the lesson, or do we need to hold on to you a little bit longer? Oh, we're done. Okay, well, let's let it go.
Yeah.
And that's where the healing takes place, in that subconscious soup. But to access that in safety can be kind of tricky.
Yes.
That can be tricky. Wherein lies why you go to people like us.
Yes.
Because we help you access it. We don't do it for you.
No.
The body is supposed to heal itself under certain circumstances. We just set up the environment. We set up the environment. This is a healing environment for you today. Let's get to it. Yeah.
You're so delightful. Let's see. We've gotten through, the beginning of my questions.
Good.
What is something you love about yourself that you wish other people noticed?
Oh. I think they do.
I think they do too.
I think they do. What do I love about myself? I love that I consider myself a lifelong learner. I'm open to learning. I don't want to think I know it all, because I know I don't. The more you know,
I feel like I don't know anything.
Exactly.
The older I get, I'm like, I don't know anything.
How's that work?
The things that I thought I knew 2 years ago are already outdated.
Man,
I'm always upgrading myself.
You have to.
Yeah.
What else do I love about myself? I love that I have a divine connection to what I consider my creator or my source, prime. I love that I'm open to thinking, how far back to the source can I get and still be here and do the work? It can get a little crazy. But for me, when I feel that I am connected, and that's with every breath, every inhale, every exhale, if I am connected, since I am connected, then I move and breathe and have my being according to how I've been called and the yes that I've said. If I've said yes, then I'm moving with it. The calling, I ran from this intuitive, this alternative, let's call it alternative well-being.
Yes.
I ran from that. I'm like, I'm not doing that. Excuse me. I want to do this. And the mantle kept being thrown at me. Pick that up. This, you promised you were going to do this. Now pick it up and get to it. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not.
When did this happen?
Here's the story.
Okay.
Here's the story. So I've always been intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
I've always known that I know things without being told. I've known for a long time that everything needs to be done in love. I've known for a long time that I don't know everything. I know that I didn't create myself, that I am created, and I am the spark of Source. So, my family, there was a tragedy that happened in my family. And 2 young children and the family were involved. And it was devastating, and I don't think we'll ever be the same. Hopefully, we continue to grow and heal and be better. And I already see that in many ways. But about 6 months after the tragedy, my grandson and my granddaughter, my grandson being 6, my granddaughter being 12. My grandson was just a wild boy. You know, when I say climb the walls, I know that he did, because there's handprints up at the top where he high-fived on my wall. And I'm like, I know you did that. I know you did that. Climb the door jams. And so, and the young lady was just quite the young lady. Uh-huh. Just the prince. Gorgeous, lovely in all her ways. So they had a sleepover at Granny's house, my house. And I had a singing bowl along with crystals on my dresser in my bedroom. So it was like midday, and we were standing in front of the mirror, and we're kind of chatting about things and getting ready to go leave the house and go do things. Well, the little boy's here to my left and the young lady's to my right. And there's a mirror on the dresser in front of us. So when you look in the mirror, you see all 3 of us, right? So he's playing with all the crystals, all the rocks on my dresser. And he's not just touching them. He's like marbly thumping them to hit the next one, and they're just bouncing all over the place. And I just kind of put them back, and I'm like, it's just my kid. I love him, but he's just wild. And she's, looking at things on Granny's dresser, a little bit of the perfume and just doing the things girlies do, right? So I picked up the bowl, small one, and I had purchased it because I thought, oh, that'll hold a nice pair of earrings or a bracelet or something. That's cute. So I picked it up and I struck the bowl and it began to sing. And then I began to play around the edge of it and make it sing and sing and sing and sing. And it just got a really beautiful pitch on it. And as I'm playing, I let it go, let it finish singing. I looked down at the little boy, and he has all the way woo-sawed down. He's just totally calm. And I'm like, oh, in my head, what have we here? If this will do this, I need to play this bowl more often with him. And he's just totally calm. And it's still singing all by itself, right? I look in the mirror at the young lady, and there's tears running down her face. And I think to myself, oh, geez, I've upset her. I've triggered her in some way. Something I've done has taken her back to either a scary place or something. Somehow I've triggered her. This is not a cry child. And I let it finish singing out. And I put it down. I look at the little boy. He's still calm. I look at the little girl and I say to her, the way that I talk to her, I said, baby, tell Granny what happened. What did I do? Did I upset you? Did I bring up some bad things? What happened? Why are you crying? And she got herself together and she took a deep breath and let it out. And she says, "No, Gran, you didn't upset me." She says, "From the first time, since the incident happened, this is the first time I felt like I could take a deep breath." And I thought, I've got medicine in this sound. I've got to figure out what this is all about. And that catapulted me into vibrational sound therapies. That catapulted me into the sound medicine. It's interesting because sound can get to where words can't.
Mm-hmm.
That prefrontal cortex that we were talking about, that's a talking thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when that's quiet and moved to the side, sound can get in and you can start to feel the heal take place. Or you can find where it hurts or where it needs to go, and you can kind of direct it. That's what sound medicine does. You hear people quoting Einstein and Tesla about the future of well-being or medicine is going to be about the sound. I saw it in person. I tell this story because in regards to the mantle, Spirit had constantly been telling me, no, you need to pick up the mantle. You promised you were going to do this and get this accomplished. Now it's time for you. And I was defiant. I will not. I said, okay, fine. So the ancestors that were the ones that were sending the spiritual messages to me, pick up the mantle. We need you to do the work. I told them no. He says, okay, fine. Then we're going to jump to your descendants. And they will turn around and they will have you do the work. And it was not until after that I realized they gave up with me, sent it way forward until the children could pick it up and turn around and bring it back to me. And here I am. It would have been easier if I just did this. But, your journey is your journey. You get it done however it's going to get done, it's going to get done.
I love how you explained that or articulated that, because my daughter has been the greatest teacher.
See?
Especially of things that I wasn't listening to.
Those young people will get you.
They will.
The descendants will get you.
Yeah, they will.
We hear them really well.
Well, they've also been watching us, right? In our inability to maybe listen. Mm-hmm. And they're closer to the truth.
Very true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know when the babies come, I'm like, what's the big guy say? How is he? He's good? He's good? How are the ancestors? Are they good? Yeah? Talk to them.
I love babies. Mm. You have a lot of babies.
I have a lot of babies.
You have a lot of babies. Okay, let's see. What has been your greatest lesson in love?
I think we touched on it early when I was talking about Broomhilda.
Okay.
I would say love happens regardless. Crazy things happen, sad things happen, confrontations come, things break, things get put back together. However, if you're willing to go through all of that and still keep a loving heart, you'll be all right. Love is the best medicine. And sometimes it's hard to access that love when you're hurting, or you're sad, or you're disappointed, or you're angry. But it takes practice to love through all of that. And that doesn't mean that you are a doormat or you condone certain behaviors. But even though the behavior might be there that might be displeasing, you can still love. You can still, let's just say, pray for the people. You can still move in a way that you're not creating more harm for them as they're going through or creating chaos. You can still have a loving heart. And sometimes that's sacrificial. Sometimes just, I'm going to love you anyway. I don't like you and I don't want anything to do with you, but I do love you.
So you practice unconditional love.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always easy.
No, it is not.
It's not.
Especially when it triggers something in you.
And that's when you really find out what you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's the work.
That's the work. And that's the evidence.
Yeah.
What has worked?
Yes.
What have you been working on?
Yes.
That's the evidence.
Yeah. I agree. What's one lesson in love and relationship you wish you had learned earlier?
I don't have to be right. Even if I'm right, you don't have to know that I'm right. Sometimes I feel like I've got some insight into something and I want to share it so bad. You don't have to agree with me, but can you at least listen to what I have to offer? And sometimes it's not received. And I don't have to pound my head into the brick wall so that you see what I'm seeing.
Uh-huh.
I can just let you be. I can know that whatever it is that I think is right, or I see, or I'm experiencing, maybe that's just for me. And I don't have to prove it to you. I don't have to. I'm okay.
Yeah. You just have such great things to say. All of these questions.
Oh,
I adore you. You're welcome.
I adore you back.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. I had a bunch of questions about the practices and all of the education and training that you have acquired.
Okay.
And you had already touched on sound medicine.
Yes.
You're also a Reiki Master, and you're Holy Fire 3 Master, and you're a medical Reiki Master.
Yes.
I am a Reiki Master teacher in Usui, so I have a completely different lineage, but I want you to tell me about yours.
Okay.
I know about Holy Fire a little, but for anyone who's listening or watching, they may not know anything about it. So there's definitely some differences as well as some beautiful things about medical Reiki Master. I have no idea what that even means, so please tell us.
Let's start with medical Reiki.
Okay.
Raven Keys is the woman who brought this to the forefront. She was a Reiki Master. When 911 happened, she was the person that was treating on site firemen, policemen, all those that needed help or just needed to hit the pause button. They had set up a tent nearby for her to do Reiki with these people. These horribly broken and distraught and people that were just there trying to help with 9/11. That went on for quite a while. She became very well known in that area. Sad thing about it, she just passed last week. She had a massive cardiac arrest. And my heart's broken about that.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. She traveled all over. She was in Glastonbury when it happened. So, and that was her favorite place to be. So she was in a good spot to leave. But she trained medical Reiki individuals all over. all over the country, all over the U.S., over in Europe as well. And the medical Reiki was to allow Reiki Masters to come in during surgeries, traditional hospital surgeries, to assist their patients with getting through the surgery. They were allowed to come in as pre-surgery, during the actual surgery, and post-surgery. And the studies show that patients were able to recover with less medicine, less downtime, and they recovered quickly and with less distress and pain and all the stuff that goes along with surgery. And so she organized with another surgeon medical Reiki, training people how to go into the hospitals, not only work with patients that were there, but to also work with the medical doctors, the staffing, how to get someone in there. Where do they sit? Do they touch? All of that, how critical things can be. And so I got that training directly from her, and it was amazing. I have only done pre-surgery and post-surgery here in the Portland metropolitan area, primarily because the doctors aren't ready.
I know.
They're not ready.
I know.
You're stomping on toes.
Yeah.
And you want to come in and do what?
Yeah.
You want who to come in where?
Yeah.
It's just not at all ready. Mm-hmm. Some of the areas, like back east, they have hospitals that are really, yes, come in. Mm-hmm. Come in. Mm-hmm. We need you. Here I find in the Portland metropolitan area, it's like hospital rooms. You can go in, or they'll ask you to come in, or recoveries. But they're not going to have you in the pre-surgery, surgery, and then in recovery. They're not going to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what medical Reiki is.
Okay.
And now, I started back in the 1900s. I love saying that. I was back in the 1900s. 1990, I'm going to say 98 or 99, I started with Reiki.
Uh-huh.
I had never even heard the word.
Me neither when I started.
I never heard it. Mm-mm. So I had gotten sick in 1997, and it was incurable. And it just took a nosedive, just cycled really down. My family, it just all came apart. I ended up getting a divorce and just on my own trying to stay well. And I had a really rough time of it. And I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm getting in my car. I'm going for a ride, and I might be back. I had a bad attitude. I had a really bad attitude after everything had kind of settled. I'm getting out of here. I need some fresh air. So I'm going on a personal retreat. I'm starting with a personal retreat at Brighton Bush. You know where Brighton Bush is, right?
I'm about to go there tomorrow.
See? See?
Synchronicity is so funny.
Oh my gosh. So I'm at Brighton Bush. And I'm there
I've been waiting since December.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I've been there.
Yeah.
But like
it's new now since the fire.
But I also got this. That's what I mean by waiting. Either way, yeah. Keep going.
So I'm there for like 7 days, and about day 3, I see these people going in and out of the lodge. And I'm doing my own personal thing. I'm having a good time. I'm just really doing that self-care before it was known as self-care. I'm just trying not to lose my crap.
Yes. Okay? I'm with you.
So
I've been there.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm watching these people going in and out, and they got a really odd look to them. And I'm like, who are these people? And what are they doing going in there? How come we can't go in there? Because it was just for those people in the lodge. So this one day I'm sitting out on a picnic table. It's lunchtime. Best lunches on the planet. Best food.
They have great food.
Good food.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting and I'm eating, visiting with other people. And the unusual looking people start coming out because it's their lunchtime too. And I say unusual because it's just different. They're energetically, it was different. And I didn't know to call it energetically at the time.
Yeah.
So they come out, and this lady comes out, and she sits next to me on the picnic table. I said, hi. And I'm still really cocky and just kind of in myself, right? She goes, hi, how are you? I said, I'm fine. I said, who are you? She says, oh, my name is such and such. I'm like, okay. I said, so who are you guys? What are you guys doing in there? She goes, oh, we're Reiki Masters. This is our annual Reiki Masters gathering for the country. I said, oh, what's Reiki? She goes, you don't know what Reiki is? I'm like, no.
Especially in 1999 before the internet.
Yeah. I said, no. And of course, I'm still being really
cocky.
Yeah,
I was too.
She goes, well, it's hard to explain. Can I just show you? I'm like, yeah. So I got my salad in front of me, and I'm like, okay. I'm thinking she's going to pull out a book or something. Nah. Girlfriend sits back. She takes a few deep breaths, and she starts the connection, right? Looking back at it, hindsight, I can just see the energy just starting to flow. And I'm sitting there going, I look at her and I'm thinking, okay, you're going to get ready. I'm going to get ready too. Cocky. So I'm like, okay. So I sit there and she says, is it okay if I touch you? And I said, okay. She puts one hand on my abdomen. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't know how she's going to show me just talking foolishness in my head. And she puts her other hand on the small of my back. So she's got a direct connection, okay? She goes like this. When the back hand touches, poof, I was gone. It's still hard to talk about.
I can tell.
I was just gone. I was so far gone. I was immediately in the presence of Source. And we're having conversation. And I'm like, I'm starting to talk. What? And I hear, be quiet. I need to tell you something. And the conversation begins to who Source is to me and what will be expected of me. And how I've never been alone. I will never, ever be alone. I will never walk without all that I need, all that I am. And he just keeps talking. And I say he because it was a deep understanding. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't genderless. Mm-hmm. Because there was a masculine and feminine aspect to the energy that was addressing me. And I'm just like, what? And it's like, she took her hands off. It felt like I had been gone years. And when she let go, I was back at the picnic table. And I just started bawling. Uh-huh. And she looks at me, she goes, well, I haven't had that response before. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with you. In my head. And I'm like, I could not regroup. And all these people were looking at me, and I could not get myself back together again because the experience had been that profound. And I just kind of thanked her, and I went back to my cabin, and I had to just lay down because I had just left everything that I knew and experienced everything that I truly knew. And now I'm back. Now what? Shortly thereafter, instead of continuing on with my bad attitude to have this personal experience across the whole country, I decided to come back. And I started my first level training. And then I went to my second level training. And then, as you know, because it was all Usui, I started with the Usui branch. And then after a year of working with my teacher, I was ready to go to the next level. And when I asked how much it was, we're back in the 1900s, right? 1999. He lets me know how much it was. And I'm like, what? It's at $10,000. I'm like, really? He said, yes, this is the Usui line, and this is how it goes. I'm like, well, I guess I'm done. He says, you're not done working. He says, you may be done going forward at this point like this, but that doesn't mean you don't have work to do.
Right.
So I left it like that, and I worked on myself for my own health. I worked on my children. I worked on family members. It was an offering from the gift that I received. And it wasn't until 2000, oh gosh, I can't remember. I want to say 2014, maybe, that I was able to receive my first attunement to the master level. And it was not that amount, because another teacher felt kind of the way I did. And though it was Usui, she decided she had been gifted. She was going to gift others who were really disciplined and wanted it. So she attuned us, and there was a group of maybe 22, 23. And she attuned us in Washington. That was pretty awesome. So I worked with that for a few years. And then, I'm going to say, prior to COVID, I came through with the Holy Fire that was gifted to me. Colleen Bernelli, if you might know her. She's here in the Portland metro area. She does a lot of teaching. I love the way she teaches. I love the more contemporary way of not getting stuck in the old, but being able to move with the energy that is unchanging. The energy doesn't change. How we present it, how we bring it is different. So you're asking about the differences that I would say, first of all, Usui is hands-on.
Yeah.
And in your face. It's right. It's person to person. It's eye to eye. It's heart to heart. It's traditional.
There's a bunch of rules.
Bunch of rules. Bunch of rules.
So many rules.
So many rules. And there are rules also with the Holy Fire. However, there's an understanding that the individual that is attuning you is not the one that's attuning you. It's still a spiritual experience, and the energy is still pure. And without interference of the attunement person, that can still be done. Guided through meditation, leave you right there so spirit can actually attune you.
Mm.
And that was the most profound difference I found in them. The history is up through Usui and how it got to the Americas. That history is still intact.
Yeah.
They still teach that.
Yeah.
But the ways of attuning, different.
Different. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that is something that I, specifically my Reiki Master teachers and, a couple up from me essentially have also evolved into in our lineage.
I appreciate all that I've learned, both sides, both. To me, it's like one branch. You got a limb over here, you got a limb over here, but it's all one branch.
Oh, we're in the tree.
Yeah, exactly.
You and I are related.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
Okay, well, thank you for that. What about Yomassage? You're a Yomassage Energy Practitioner.
Yes. I got bored and I wanted something interesting to do. And I wanted to use what I had. And I went to I personally went to a Yomassage afternoon. And it's all about restorative poses.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So it's restorative poses with massage if you're a massage therapist.
Okay.
Okay. So they come in as massage therapists, but they learn these poses and they get the people, and it's a small group, it's a very intimate group, and they massage you right where you are in these poses. So can you imagine being in a yoga position for restoration and being massaged in the muscles that are being exposed or, it's just luscious. However, I'm not a massage therapist. I do Reiki.
Yeah.
So they incorporated also energy work in these positions. So I usually co-teach with a massage therapist.
Okay.
And then I follow along with the different individuals with energy medicine using Reiki. And then I complete it using vibrational sound. So they get a sound bath in their last restorative pose. What is that pose called? The corpse pose.
Yeah.
And so they get a sound bath at the end. So it's been fun doing that. I enjoy it. The people really enjoy it and embrace it. And it's pretty succinct. You start here, you finish here, have a nice day, see you next time.
And do you teach these as classes?
It's more of a experience versus a class.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're not teaching other people to do it.
Right.
But you're having small group, intimate work.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Give it a shot.
Sounds lovely. It really does, especially for like my hips.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you do breath work.
I do.
You do hape or rape.
Harape. Yeah.
You do compassionate end of life support.
I do. Ooh. Yeah. That was a surprise to me. I have, so there's okay. I do vibrational sound therapy and sound baths here in the Portland metropolitan area. There was a woman whose father was passing, and she had a friend that was well known in the Pacific Northwest for vibrational sound baths. That individual had moved out of town and was no longer available here in the Pacific Northwest and couldn't get to help her friend with the dad in his latter days in hospice. So she asked, well, do you know anybody? So I didn't know the practitioner personally, but she either had heard that I do it here, and so somehow we got connected. asked if I'd be interested in doing a vibrational sound bath for a man that is in hospice and will soon be passing. I'm like, absolutely. Sound, like I say, gets in where words don't. And sometimes we just need to feel and just know that everything's okay. Sound is a medicine that it does what it needs to do. Regardless of what's happening, it does what it needs to do. So the daughter and I, she said, I'd love for you to come. She says, what do you charge? I said, I'm not going to charge for this. I'll take a love offering because I believe there needs to be an exchange of energy. Yeah. I said, I'll take a love offering. And so I get there, and all the entire way I'm driving, and it's high up in Washington, not past Seattle, between Vancouver and Seattle. And I get there, it's pouring down rain. It's just raining sideways. I got all this stuff to take in the house. They help me bring everything in. I go in, and the gentleman is in his bed. And I walk over, and I'm like, hi. And he looks at me. He goes, hi. How are you? And I'm like, oh, high energy. All of a sudden, there's this energy in him. You can tell he's sick. You can tell he's near the end, but he's got this energy, and I just like, oh, we're going to have a good time. So I get everything set up. And I always talk to people before I do my sound baths. It's like, just because I'm here doesn't mean I know everything. Let's chat things up a little bit. Get to know me. Let me get to know you. So we chat a little bit, and then we get started. And he went into such a sweet rest, just a sweet rest. And his family that was nearby, they got to rest. So when you're really being challenged and you get a chance to just safely put everything down and just be, that's a luxury that I call bliss. Mm-hmm. And so his family, I believe his partner, his daughter, her partner, I think 2 other people were there. And then when it was done, it was done. And he passed 2 days, within 2 days to a week later. And I felt so honored being a part of that transition phase. And shortly thereafter, another family reached out to me for a young woman in her 30s, maybe early 40s, that was passing due to breast cancer. And I went there, here in Portland. And she had 3 sisters. There were 4 sisters, and she was one of the sisters. And so you had such sorrow in the house. It was sad. Children. She had 2 children, and the young son couldn't stay. The young daughter stayed and said it was pretty. And I had this woman come down the stairs. The client, the guest, the person, was upstairs in a loft area where her space was. And they wanted to know if I needed to be there. I'm like, I don't need to be there. The sound coming up the staircase will make its way. So I was in the foot of the stairs, in the stairwell, laid out all my bowls, and I played there. And the sisters and the family members sat on the steps going up to her room with the door open, and the sound was going up. And about halfway through, you could hear her toning. She had lost her ability to talk. She was toning to the pitches of the bowls. And after it was all over and I closed it down, everyone was very appreciative. But this woman came downstairs. young-looking woman. And she just came down and she was standing like off to the side. And I looked at her and I'm like, there's something different about her than all the others that were in the house. There must have been 25 people, 30 people in the house. And I go over to her and I said, hello. She says, I'm the mother. I said, oh. And I just hugged her. We just hugged. We just stood there and hugged while she let go. So, I'm the mother. I'm like, that's why you look different. In my head, that's why you look different. This is your baby. That's transitioning out. And she was very grateful. She said, did you hear her? I'm like, I heard something. She says, she was trying to sing the tones of the bowls. I think the day after that, she passed. So the hospice came. I hadn't planned on doing that. And as tenderhearted as I am, I'm like, oh God, I'm a mess. But I have been empowered and strengthened for something like that, for some reason. And yeah, I do offer that.
How do I even follow that up? I was going to say, how do you help others find a way through their pain in order to accept the inevitability and naturalness of dying?
Sometimes you can help, sometimes you can't. You can't make it all right. You can't. It comes right back to, can I hold space for you? Can I stand in love and just hold space for you while you go through this, while you find your way? I can't fix it for you. But can I hold space with you and for you? Can I make sure that this is a safe environment for you to deal with whatever is there for you? And the answer is yes, if they let me. And no, if you can't, that's fine. I can bow out, but you don't get to tell me who I get to pray for. So as I'm leaving, I'm sending it back to you.
You're a great companion.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
What have been your greatest teachings through these experiences?
Oh, boy. There's so much we don't know. There's so much we don't know. And yet, what we do know is more than enough. Stop being cranky. Be loving. Be kind. Do your best. Have an open heart, an open mind. Find your footing. Each person has a road. There's really no set answer for any individual. We're all in this together. There's a oneness that cannot be denied. It cannot be not denied. We are one. We might look different. We might talk different. We might this, we might that. We're one. We belong to Source. And to Source we will return. And for some people, we return again. For others, it's a one and done. I'm out. But how do you know? How do you know for sure? So allow people the freedom to have their own way of getting through information. I don't believe in dogmatic anything. What's right for me, severely right for me may not be right for somebody else, regardless if I think it is or not. If it's right for me, it's mine. Find yours. I'll meet you there. Because in my thinking, if we are one, we'll end up at the same place eventually. Yeah? I don't know.
How do you feel we can incorporate more love for ourselves and for the world around us?
Well, one of the things is like, how do you know someone's being loving? How do you know that? It's how they make you feel. Yeah. If you're being kind to someone or respectful to someone or giving someone space to be authentic without judgment, I think that's a really loving thing. Mm-hmm. If you see someone that is direly in need of something and you have the capacity to share, you don't have to give it all, but to share, that's love. Just being kind, I think is really, it's like putting your toe into the water to see the temperature. It's just enough to give you enough information. Yeah, I want to stay over there. Or I don't want anything to do with that. Kindness will go a long, long way. And when you can't be kind, be quiet. Be quiet. Until you can be kind. Because in your kindness, your love will show.
I love that. That's a beautiful way to end.
Okay. Yay.
Do you have any questions for me?
Oh, I have all those same questions you asked me. I have all those for you.
You're so sweet.
Next time.
Next time.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a pleasure, though.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.